Welcome back to The Curious Yapper. I'm Madison, your host and favorite yapper. I did not make my goal of crying less than 2 times this week. And to be clear, when we're talking about crying, we are saying because of work. So, crying is fine. Outside, it releases the chemicals in your brain, makes you feel better. Crying because of your job, not good. Anyways, we failed. We were doing good until I'll get to it. So, on Monday, it's a blur. I don't really remember. Didn't cry at work. Went on a neighborhood walk with Evan, being outside, and moving in some capacity is very important for my mental health. So, that was Monday. Tuesday, didn't cry at work. Also, wasn't the best day. And it was very late for me, and Evan picked us up Taco Bell. Fantastic. Wednesday was an okay day because I left early. I left early for therapy. When I left, I've never seen so many cars still in the parking lot because I haven't seen that time in a long time. Anywho's, left early for therapy. The sun was shining. It felt amazing to leave the building that right now doesn't feel awesome. Anyways, went to therapy. It was a good session. I felt like I knew what I needed to do, and I knew we talked about intentionally setting down some responsibilities instead of letting the balls drop, because I said that I haven't really failed that many times in my life, and just letting things not happen and fail on their own didn't feel good. And so we reframed it to I'm intentionally setting these things down, knowing that I can't do it all. So left Wednesday session feeling hopeful, knew that I needed to do some things. We were ready. After that, I felt like I could accomplish the world. So I told Evan, let's go on a hike. So we did. Midweek hikes and midweek activities make me feel like I'm living a real life and bring me great joy. So we headed to a hike, got to see flowers, of course, which filled me up. And I also learned that an out and back trail is not the same as a point to point. So I saw a trail and I said, Evan, it's only 3.9 miles. We've got enough daylight. That is perfect timing with the driving to get there. And he said, okay. So he's keeping track of how far we've gone, and we're about over 2 miles in, and he says, did the trail say out and back, or did the trail say point to point? And I said, it said point to point. And he said, yeah, that means it is 3.9 there, and then to get back, you have to do it again. I said, oh, we don't have time for that. And so, anywho's, we turned around and made our own out and back trail, and that was really funny that we didn't know point to point was different than out and back. So I read the comments on all trails and it said, we went out and back, and I was like, perfect, Evan, perfect distance, perfect all the things. I can also tell, a small win, that I'm getting stronger because of the stairs in the park that Evan has been doing, and then I just go and follow suit because I know those things are good to support the goals I have for different hikes I want to do. Anyways, so learned that lesson. That was funny. Then we made a whole night of it, and we went to a burger spot on our way back home that we really enjoy, and we were hoping to be In-N-Out. Haha. Word pun on the type of hike that I failed. In-N-Out. I guess no, that's a burger pun, Madison. Anyways, we thought we would be In-N-Out with timing, speed. Turns out it was a fundraiser night. So we got to support some random booster club. I don't even remember what it was, but I said, we're totally here for that booster club. Please donate some of our proceeds. So anyways, it was extra busy and it took extra long, and we were extra hungry because we're on a hike. So can you see that all the things were going really well? Still really fun, still really great. Made me feel like I was a human, and midweek adventures are good for me. So anyways, that was Wednesday. Let's remember that after therapy, I was feeling like I can do it. I know what I need to do. Then we go to work the next day. Not so good. But you know what? We didn't cry. We did get really upset though. And we could feel it in our body. Didn't cry. I get home, I'm in a funk. I also despise that my job can impact personal and home. Despise it. Despise. Anywho, it's a great time to live with me. And I was in a funk, and Evan was like, yeah, we should move in some way. And I was like, yeah, I guess I'll go on a neighborhood walk. He's like, how about that park and let's hit it and do some stairs. And I was like, it doesn't sound great, but you know what? Here I go. I have an audiobook I still need to listen to and finish. So, okay. The audiobook was Simon Sinek's Leaders Eat Last, which keeps at the forefront that companies who value the employee and them kind of as a full-rounded individual are the ones that actually succeed, because then your employees buy into the culture and are there and committed, and every part in me is like, okay, employees, okay? As opposed to when I feel out of control, I want to control, so I'm having to fight my natural tendencies. So was the book good for me to remember? Perhaps. Anyways, that was Thursday. Huffing and puffing up the stairs in a funk, whatever. I think we had a freaking Taco Bell again. I think I had Taco Bell majority of this week. And you know what? I'm fed. I was fed. Still alive. Thriving, no. Anyways, that's Thursday. Friday. You guys, it looks like we're gonna make it where we don't cry 2 times this week because of work. We are an hour into the morning. The first tears happen. Oh yes, oh yes. But that's okay. 1 cry is less than 2. We're still gonna thrive, right? No. Then later on, my first manager at my company reached out and was like, let's connect. And I said, hey girl, it's not gonna go well if we connect. I very much respect and appreciate her. Very much. I said, hey girl, it's not gonna go well and I'm probably gonna cry. And she's like, cool, scheduling it now. And I said, I'm gonna go to a really far conference room. So don't book me a room. I'm gonna go where no one knows where I am. She's like, okay. Anyways, cry number 2 happens. Pretty intense cry. Evan does keep reminding me that it's not normal to cry because of your job. Anyways, going into this week, let's go for the same goal. Don't cry. Cry less than 2 times this week because of work. That's what we're gonna do, yeah? Yeah. Totally gonna be successful. So anyways, that was Friday. Well, there's more. I have more for Friday, but that was, the cries. And what is funny is that the team pulled a prank on me. And we're all in the conference room. I'm looking around and I see this dude with a container, like a Tupperware container of water. And I call him out and I was like, that's really weird. What is that? He's like, just, some water. And I was like, okay, odd. And I'm just scanning the room and everything's fine, whatever. And then I see another person take a drink of what looks like a Coffee Mate creamer. I said, what is that? And then it clicked and I saw that they all had funny little vehicles for water. Some people were drinking out of vases, gum containers, a lotion container. And I said, you guys are wild. Did we clean these things? Anyways, they also had placed bets on how long it was going to take me to notice. I noticed in about 2 minutes, everybody. So anyways, I thought I spotted that Tupperware really quickly and thought it was odd and didn't say anything. I was like, maybe it's lunch. And then I saw it was just like liquid. Anyways, so that was actually pretty funny. Gave me a good chuckle. That was actually before the second cry in the timing of things. Anyways, we get home. We give Evan a brief update that we have now cried twice in one day. And you know what? We went on a neighborhood walk, and you know what's positive? I got these flowers at a neighborhood stand, and they're freaking gorgeous. Look at that. So beautiful. I love the variety. I love the texture. I love the colors. And I have walked by that flower stand for a year now, and I never purchased any. And I said, you know what? Today's the day. So that's what I did. Then we got pizza for dinner, and then I watched trashy TV. There's something about other people's problems that helps me forget about mine. So hey. All right, now we're to the weekend. Saturday, for some reason, there's a reason. I feel like I have to be productive all the time, even on the weekends. And the act of just rest doesn't settle well with me. Red flag. Anyways, because of this conundrum in my brain, I was, of course, naturally thinking to myself, I had such a bad week. I need to capitalize on the weekend. So then I had all these plans and thoughts of what I could do in my head. And I told Evan, I said, I have all these different things that I could do, and I am not going to do any of them because I'm feeling paralyzed. He's like, well, you could do this. Because I said, I want to read, but then I want to do something outside. And then he's like, yeah, so why don't you read for an hour? I was like, but you see, I want to read a whole book. He's like, yeah, so read for an hour, and then let's move to the next thing. Anyways, so I did read some book. Then I watched The Devil Wears Prada, the original, because I want to see the new one that's coming out. Evan had never seen it, and he joined me in and out. And yeah, so we got to read it. And 30-year-old me listening back to the movie I enjoyed when I was in 6th grade is a little wild that those were the conversations we were being exposed to. Go back and listen to The Devil Wears Prada. Lots of comments on body, lots of comments on having to look good to be worthy. And I fear that that was a constant theme in media then and now. Anyways, watched The Devil Wears Prada. FaceTime with the family for very exciting news. Some very exciting news. And after that, we went to the park and did some stairs. It was the most stairs I'd done in a row without a break. So we're doing like random little goals and, growing and doing behaviors that are going to help me be able to do the big hikes that I want to do. After that, then Evan was still doing stairs, and I sat at a park picnic table, started reading a book, and then all of a sudden, these 2 people with the board game Catan came up and said, hey, could we borrow this side of the table? And I said, absolutely. And then I had some big eyes. I love board games. Hello. And I love Catan. And they said, do you want to join? And I looked at my phone and I was like, I don't have time. And I said that to them. I said, I don't have enough time to join. I really am interested. Anyways, then some more of their friends came and they got to set up. And by the time they were set up, it was time for me to go. So I really didn't have time to join them. And that was okay because Evan and I had other plans after the park. After that, we went to a nursery, a plant nursery, so cool, so many things. And we actually left with some seeds to do some flowers. And I got like a foot-long plastic container. Anyways, we're gonna attempt to see if any flowers bloom from it. After that, the adventures were not over because we went to a pie spot that I had saved for about a year. And it was hopping and a bopping. Lots of people outside waiting in line for this pie. And the parking down where we were was crazy. And we had to park in some neighborhood. But those homes are so beautiful. All the flowers that surround them, so beautiful. So it's still fun to go do that. And on our way home, we got 2 slices of pie. 1 key lime pie slice and a banana chocolate cream pie slice. And then as we were done and ringing up, I saw something on some shelves in the back and I said, "What's that?" Anyways, we got some like cinnamon strudely kind of bread. It was good. As we were driving home, Evan said, "Let's do a little taste." Delicious. Very good. And then also on the way home, we naturally stopped for Taco Bell. What number is that this week? I don't know, but are you keeping track? I hope you are. Got Taco Bell, and then after Taco Bell, got to try the slices of pie. Really good. We will be going back for sure. Very excited for that. That was pretty much the evening. I did some of the things I set out to do. I didn't go see The Devil Wears Prada 2. To be determined when that happens. Today, woke up, started reading some book, and then it was a really hot day today, and so I started opening all the doors to cool down the apartment, and then I was even like checking when the temperature outside was not going to be cool enough to cool the inside, and I set a timer and everything, and Evan's like, "We can just turn on the AC," and I said, "But I'm trying to be really smart about it." And he's like, "Are you worried about money?" And I said, "No, I'm not worried about money. I'm trying to like game the system." He's like, "We could turn on the AC." And I was like, "I don't know." To be determined if we turn on the AC. I think the thermostat was at 72, which is not optimal. We are 60s people, like 68 or 70, so it might be turning on. Might be. Oh, I forgot the other thing. Oops. Also on Wednesday, the day we did the hike and the burgers and all that stuff, Evan came back with some pots these are for little like propagated spider plants babies. And then this is so that I can paint it. So the world is my oyster here. And I need to figure out what I want to do with these. But it was fun and very thoughtful for Evan to bring these, knowing that I would want to paint them. So did that. Also running it back to the plant nursery. They had so many cute ceramic pots, and I wanted to go crazy and buy them all. And I refrained, but we did buy those seedlings. Anyways, then today I did the reading, tried to cool down the apartment, then we planted the flower seeds. We'll see if they grow. I have no idea if it's gonna work. Then I did my spring wreath and my spring doormat. We went and got groceries because last week we had failed to meal prep and think about food. This week we're gonna do our best. And then we went to the park for the stairs. I did 6 sets and that was pretty good. Listened to an audiobook with some like dramatic rich ladies. It's a fiction book. I love ladies that are dramatic with money. And then got back home, relaxing. I think Evan just made some baked potatoes because that's going to be one of our dinners. And that's all. Thanks for the Obsessed Yappers. Wish me luck on crying less than 2 times because of work this week. I'm not feeling that great. Okay, bye.